Welcome, everybody, to another podcast here, the NERDWatch podcast. I, of course, am G Money. It is, we are fresh.
Are we doing the basketball intro?
No, we're not. We are just a few short days away from our premiere of X-men Apocalypse, which we'll be talking about tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to hear what Alika has to G Money. I am joined by someone that we like to call Todd Bernardi, a.k.a. the Pasta King. Not only that, he is a talented local comic book artist, and he's white.
He's also the alleged love child of John Lovitz.
Yes! Yeah. Perfectly timed, sir.
If they grew up in the South.
That's right.
And it worked like
Todd
that.
Bernardi is joining us here, and he is from, I didn't know this until tonight. You are from Oklahoma. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. So in honor of Preacher, which we'll be talking about later on as well, the premiere of Preacher, because we missed that last week.
Which doesn't take place in Oklahoma.
Which it doesn't, but it's north of Texas. Right? If I got geographically, it's north of Texas, right?
Well, and so are a lot of other states.
Okay.
There's other, like Nebraska. That's also north of Texas.
All right. Yeah. He's going to be speaking in a southern drawl with us all night
so
long.
is Kansas. Kansas is also north of Texas.
Nice. Thank you.
You got to understand, though, his southern drawl is not quite actually a southern drawl. It's more of a Midwestern drawl.
Well,
his
tomato.
First off,
You say tomatoes, I say tomatoes.
Hey, his drawl's fine, Hawaiian. Calm down.
Yeah. Oh, God. How are you, eh?
Jeez. Anyway, also joining us is the one and only Gannon. He is a horror aficionado, punk rock superstar, and I'd love to know. We'll talk. I don't know if we have time for it today, but I do want to know what he thinks about the newest reboot of the Friday the 13th series. I'm very interested to hear what he's got to say about that. We'll try and get to that today if we can.
I don't even know why you're bringing it up, because you know we won't.
Yeah, I know.
What you're talking about right now, let's just get into it.
Also joining us tonight as well,
Forget the rest of the intros. We've seen these guys.
That's right. The gaming guru himself, Format, is in the house as well. Also joining us this evening is the one, the only owner, proprietor of this fine establishment we sit in tonight. It is the one and only Alika. He's here. I'm slurring my words a little bit. I'm sorry. Alika's in the house as well. Also joining us this evening is Big C. He's in the house as well. And last but not least, manning Facebook Live, the one and only Hennessy. He's here as well. Hennessy's here. He's been on sabbatical yet again for 2 weeks. He twisted his back before, and then he ended up going to a graduation. Don't ask me how he twisted his back, because I do not know. I didn't want to even ask.
He was twerking.
You don't want to know.
I don't want to know. Exactly.
Bruce twerking?
He was working.
Wow, he was.
It was polite.
All right, well,
the graduation.
that's right, he was.
Try to see my munchies.
Well, before we get started, I want to send a big shout out to 333 Dairy Road in Kahalui. It is Maui Comics and Collectibles, and you know what that means. Tomorrow is New Comic Book Wednesday, and the one and only Alika has new comic books.
Those new comics are full price, Gene.
Oh, that's right. That's what I said. New Comic Book Wednesday. Yeah, it's a New Comic Book Wednesday here tomorrow or Wednesday, and he's got a brand new set of comic books that you should check out. So, what you got, Alika?
Yeah.
What's on the list?
Crazy.
Independence first?
In the spirit of independent comics, I'm going to start with Marvel.
Good.
All New Wolverine number 9, Amazing Spider-Man number 13, Civil War 2 number 1. That's a confusing numbering scheme.
Stupid,
but
man.
There are, a lot of variants, over 10 variants. Craziness.
Did you get them all?
I got a lot of them.
I'm sure.
Are they like Pokemon? You got to get them all.
You should get
I'm
them
sure
all.
that variant covers are great for business, right, Alika?
Kind of. We should do an industry pod. That's why we should have got the Enjoy Comics and the Choice.
I know,
Comics
right?
guy, and we can all just rant about the crap that
mock it,
puts us through.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm
Speaking of Diamond,
so
bringing
sad
us
I missed
these
that.
wonderful products such as Deadpool number 13.
Wow.
Hey.
Can I ask you something? Alika, before we get started here,
what personal question?
Yeah, it kind of is. You know the Deadpool that's all cut wrong on the comic that's selling for a hefty price, the misprint. Sure. Was that a thing? Is that a one-time thing that happened, or was that a whole shipment?
No, that was just one comic in the shipment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. Didn't know that. Interesting. Deadpool number. Do you know what that one is?
That one was Deadpool Massacre number 1.
Deadpool Massacre number 1. Gotcha. All right. Anyway, moving on.
So more Marvel. Invincible Iron Man number 10.
Ooh. What makes him so invincible?
He's got the suit of armor, man.
Oh, gotcha.
Is that invincible?
Oh, yes, he's racist towards Italians. That's what he's invincible. That's what that whole goatee's about. Old Man Logan number 7.
Ooh.
Okay, I was waiting.
Is he
for
still
that.
old?
By the way, did anybody see, not to change the subject, or not, on the same subject, little tangent, did anybody see the pictures of Hugh Jackman sporting
Hugh
the
Jackman's
Old Man
got an
Logan?
underbeard.
He's got the Old Man Logan beard rolling.
Got an underbeard.
Crazy.
That means
Anyway.
something.
I just saw a picture of him with a beard that he would normally have when he plays Wolverine.
More
Well, this is,
importantly, he was
it-
reading a book that said jeans on it.
Weird.
Oh!
Like, did they hint any stronger at Mr. Sinister? The
Yeah.
next movie.
Seriously.
Oh, those kind of jeans. I thought you
Anyway.
meant like denim.
Oh,
But he's not in the
Gene, like
next
Gene
movie.
Hackman.
how dare you.
Gotcha. Right.
What'd you say?
Punisher number 2
Punisher.
is
Right.
it.
Good.
Also coming out. And Spider-Man 2099, number 11.
Sweet.
That's
from
I
Marvel.
didn't even know 2099 was still a thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's
Well, we're not
Silver
there yet.
Surface.
That's why.
Is Amazing Spider-Man like still amazing?
That's a good point.
He is because.
All right, so Alika.
So on to the DC Comics. Batman Rebirth number 1.
Yeah, Batman.
Batman Rebirth number 1. Is he still Batman?
He's teaming up with a new hero named Gotham and
Oh,
some wacky sidekick stuff going on. I don't know.
I gotta
where
talk
they're going
to
with that
Jim.
stuff.
This Batman number 1 comes with placenta too, so it's
Wow, it's a
that's
no. That's
Think about Batman
it's
Afterbirth.
it's
Batman.
it's
What's this one
rebirth.
called?
It's rebirth.
Oh,
Rebirth.
so what does this one come with?
Just a new superhero named
Gotham.
Gotham.
Dumb.
State.
That's
And we've
original.
also got Green Arrow Rebirth and Green Lantern's Rebirth.
So many things being reborn.
Emphasis on the plural there, by the way.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
Green
What
Green
else? What
Lantern.
else?
Oh, is it the core?
Superman Rebirth. Oh, we've also got independent comics.
Nice.
Such
No.
as Godzilla number 3 of 5.
What?
Wait, 3 of 5.
Yeah.
Godzilla.
That's the first two.
Yeah, the first 2 year SOL.
Oh,
And we've got TMNT, Bebop, and Rocksteady Destroy Everything.
Wow.
One.
Oh, that
I'm
sounds
excited
cool.
for that, yeah.
That's crazy.
And Walking Dead 155.
You know what's weird,
That's a
Todd,
thing.
is that you could take an existing property and draw it and make a comic about it and put your name on it and it'd still be independent.
If you were on Todd's
crazy.
Facebook and all the ranting they did about licensed properties and independent creators,
yeah. Can you talk?
My
what
word.
happened?
it got
Are
heated.
we talking about this?
Just a little bit. Don't
This
get
could
crazy.
get him into trouble.
I know.
People
Let's get a
sees at
little.
conventions all the time.
Like,
Let's get a
just
little.
so you know.
I know. But
There's a big
it's
controversy about the printmakers getting.
listen.
heated.
I owe it to Todd because I didn't interview him at
For
Comic Con, so I
manipulating
owe him.
existing
I owe him at
images.
least.
And this is going to be the interview.
I owe him at least 25
He's been
minutes.
saying
I'm just kidding.
he's gonna interview me since October.
That's right, I did. So I at least owe him 5 minutes.
so this is the interview?
No, no.
Mentioned the damn
5
Kukui
minutes.
project 3 times a pod.
Batman
That's-
Afterbirth
Fantastic. All right, so
with extra placenta.
so question, Todd, can you inform
Gross.
can you inform those that don't know what was happening online, why everything got so heated? What happened?
There's been for the past 2 or 3 weeks in a row, there's been people getting booted out of conventions because they're ooh.
Sorry.
Thanks for adjusting that for me.
Talk to it in the up position.
I have to get it excited first.
It's an exciting topic.
It's the mustache. So people have been getting booted from conventions because they've been taking existing artwork and bringing it into Photoshop and applying effects and like reversing the image and applying effects to it, then printing it off and then selling it as their own.
Ooh.
And there's also been people that have just blatantly outright like redrawn somebody's like Simone Bianchi, who is an Italian artist who works for Marvel. There was a guy that just blatantly repainted like a Captain America and then sold it as his own. And they were like, well, this is fan art. And I drew it. And it's like, well, you didn't actually come up with the image. So he ended up, that particular artist got kicked out of the convention first, and then the last 2 weeks there was a guy.
Current conventions,
I mean, real recently.
Wow.
And then while we were at Amazing Hawaii Comic-Con, somebody got kicked out of Puerto Rico Comic-Con for copying Ryan Otley's artwork.
Interesting.
Wow. And Ryan Otley was at Amazing Hawaii Comic-Con, and he was actually also he was taking to Twitter and shaming this artist.
Wow.
And they took down their they had an Etsy store with all their prints on it, and they had a website, and they took down their website and their Etsy store. So I posted on Facebook, like, what's the difference between these guys that take an original piece of artwork and sort of manipulate it, and then manipulate it, and then the guys that take existing characters like Batman or Superman, and then do an original piece of artwork,
right?
But then
they're taking advantage because it's a licensed property that already has attention attached to it,
right? So they promote themselves, and when you go to these conventions, you don't actually know who is an actual comic book artist that works for DC,
who has credentials, and who has just.
So people are promoting themselves with these characters, and so people just come in and they say, "Oh man, this is awesome! This is a great drawing of Batman. I'll take 4 prints," and the prints are like $10 a piece.
Wow!
So, and I sell my independent book for $5. Some people sell their independent books for $10. And they're a lot more work than just a print, and especially considering that they usually feature original characters.
Right.
So you have to come up with the story yourself, then you have to come up with the artwork yourself, and then you're selling it for less than the print. But the guys that are slinging these prints are.
To be fair, no. If your print takes off, you're not selling 5,000 of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're putting a lot of work into it. Comparing a comic to a print is kind of like a little far beyond. Just because
that's
you guys
interesting.
are at the same comic.
Good point. That's an interesting point.
Some of these artists, that all they're trying to market is their skill, and sometimes they need to put their artwork onto something familiar for people to be able to digest it and take them seriously. Like if you go to do a portfolio and bring it to Marvel or DC, they're going to want to see you do some popular characters. They're not going to be like, "Let me see your original crap." You know what I mean? Like they
a lot. Well, in.
Some of these people are not creators, but they are artists.
Well,
you know what I mean?
But the flip side to that coin, and that's fine. I mean, they
should be able to market themselves without being attached to some larger conglomerate.
Interesting.
You know,
all right. I can see that point.
These characters are part of the public psyche. You got to remember, we're bombarded with them every single day. Copyright and IP is such a dicey issue when you're dealing with culture that's so pervasive that you can't even avoid it.
I take issue with this on just.
I understand you put a lot of work into your comic, but I'm just playing devil's advocate because
that's true. Good point.
So I mean, and these artists, but it's in my opinion, it's kind of lazy for a guy to take a character that is so recognizable and then draw it in a similar style to another comic book artist. Mm-hmm. And then make prints of it.
Or if they're doing it in a similar style and not really showcasing their own style, like
even if it's a clever portrayal, like some guy mashes up two different like Doctor Who and Star Trek, you know, like even if somebody's doing that,
done before.
It's I still think that they are predicating their artwork on people that suspect that, oh, this guy's actually worked on these franchises.
Interesting.
And so
I don't think that people mean to mislead anybody in that direction. I
think that they absolutely do, and I think that they spend a lot of time and money doing it.
Not every person who uses a licensed property for prints is meant to mislead and say, I've actually worked on this. This is my legitimacy through this property. Yeah. That's like a lot of people are just doing it because they're familiar characters that everybody's familiar with, and are more likely to buy and appreciate their artwork.
That's not. But
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
For both of you, actually, and then we'll kind of wrap this thing up really quick. But my question is this: being someone who is proficient at Photoshop, wouldn't that be considered a skill? I mean, that's a skill, right?
No, it is.
Well, see, now you're taking the most extreme position.
Right.
No, because people actually charge like $100 an hour for that skill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's something
Just
that graphic
because it costs
designers
money doesn't put it on the same echelon as actually.
But what I'm saying though is that why is it?
I think that's being a little.
No, I don't think it is, and I don't think it is. I think that people that can manipulate something in Photoshop to where it's almost unrecognizable, that's definitely a skill. That takes time. It takes you have to.
It takes an awful eye.
You have to have. You have
It
to.
takes skill,
You
but
have
it's
to.
a different kind of skill. Like people, when they're going to get original art by somebody who actually drew it and took the time, that's something that people who read and appreciate comics, I don't know.
But I mean, if you look at it, I can say just because somebody like Todd who draws doesn't necessarily mean he knows how to do Photoshop, and vice versa.
Yeah, look, I understand graphic design is a skill set and it's an art in its own right. But
my point is that these guys are taking these characters that don't belong to them to promote themselves, and when really, like, they should be promoting their own work. Like, if they
not everybody has an original character to promote. Sometimes their skill is what they're trying to promote.
And that's what I'm.
What about people who have only the skill to try to promote?
They don't.
Are they not allowed to sell anything because they can't come up with an original character?
Not an artist alley.
Right.
I mean, if they want to
take an artist,
if they want to take a portfolio to a portfolio review, I think that's one thing. But I think that
interesting.
I think that trying to sell the bottom line is that they're merchandising characters that don't belong to them. So when you take up
caricatures and stuff like that, I mean, in a very similar form, you know what I mean? They still will take the actual form of the character and then put somebody else's head or whatever on it. It's showing how you can do that artwork. But not necessarily the fact that you have a mind that has the imagination for artwork.
If it's a singular original piece of artwork, then if it's a singular original piece of artwork that's not going to be replicated 1,000 times, then it's not merchandise. But when it's a print, it's basically like a poster that you get at Walmart, and you don't own the character to that.
Right.
If you get officially licensed merchandise with Batman on it, it's going to say copyright and trademark DC Comics down on the bottom.
Good point.
And so somebody that takes Batman and then draws it, but then turns it into merchandise, it's like saying, I'm going to sculpt Batman and I'm going to make my own Batman toy, and then I'm going to sell it, for $50. But I'm not going to license the rights to do that from DC Comics. What's the difference? What's the difference between a poster? And so that's my problem with it, is that they're merchandising characters that don't belong to them.
So you have a problem with them making prints of the original art, but if they're selling the original art that they do, at the show, and do commissions and things like that.
But that's one thing,
right?
But I think
some
that
people only have a marketable skill that's being.
But
an
I still think
artist.
they're doing a disservice to the industry by promoting somebody else's character like that. So if you're
somebody's character's got to get promoted at some point. These things exist.
But here's the thing, though.
But everybody's talking about how the industry is dying because people keep rebooting these superheroes. Yeah. And the point that I tried to make in that thread was that why are people promoting characters that don't belong to them to make a small profit?
Because
when
they've been bombarded with in their entire youth. It's subconscious already. But these things exist in our psyche.
But
it's just natural. Like, I don't know how to draw. The first thing I'm going to do is pick up a pencil and try to draw a Ninja Turtle. Not because I'm stealing it, but because it's part of who I am and I grew up with that crap. It's not
and that's
stealing.
fine as long as
you make it really nefarious and you make it like the artists are trying to steal from people who are creating original characters. It's not true. They'd be more than happy to reproduce your character.
I don't think Todd's trying to make it nefarious, though.
Here's the other part of that. Not one of these artists ever turned any of their profits over to the people that actually own the copyrights to these characters.
Yeah.
Not one of these artists have ever turned around and said,
"No, look,
I sold 10,000 prints of Leonardo last year. Here's your cut of it."
I agree. There's a legal issue there.
Yeah.
But if they're creating original pieces and just selling commissions or taking commissions from people, and somebody walks up and like, "Hey, can you draw me something?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll draw you anything you want." And the guy goes, "Can you draw me Batman?" Of course, he's going to take the money and draw the guy Batman.
Right. No,
There's nothing wrong with that.
But Gannon, wasn't it you that told me not this past Comic-Con, but the Comic-Con before that, you were saying something like George Perez got in trouble for doing a commission something that wasn't his character?
No.
Wasn't it?
No.
But there are artists who have contracts where they can't.
Yeah.
As an aside, the only issue with the George Perez thing was that it wasn't communicated that he was doing sketches as well as signatures, and hence that's why his line was so long. That was the actual issue, which has nothing to do with this argument.
Nothing to do with this argument.
That's all it was.
Gotcha.
He was drawing pictures of like Superman with Thanos' gauntlet.
But for example,
like
James Silvani has to be very careful about how he does his commissions now because he's under contract with Disney.
Right.
He does a lot of their animation work and a lot of their pre-production concept stuff.
A lot of this is a slippery slope because there's the article that Todd was referencing, but there was another one that referenced that article that took even one step further, going into like the cosplay realm of things, where there is actually a guy who dresses up as Spock and charges people to take pictures with him.
Wow.
Yeah. He's just a cosplayer. Just not a celebrity at all. Just he's a guy dresses up like Spock and charges people to take pictures.
Don't they do that in Times Square?
But that's the point. Like, it's very sleazy.
Yeah, no, I agree.
There's a sleazy thing to it. I mean, Comic-Con or conventions
then
like
where's
that.
the line? You're kind of almost calling cosplayers sleazy at that point.
Well, I don't think
none of the cosplayers that we've met, that we've interacted with, none of them charge people to take pictures with them.
Sure, but they don't.
They're friendly. They're open. They're there to celebrate the character.
At some point, they monetize their love in some fashion.
I will say this: I do think that I think Alika, in my opinion, I think that your characterization of Todd's argument of these people being nefarious, I don't think that was his point.
He says they're damaging the industry. I mean,
I think what he's. I don't think it's nefarious, though. I think he's. I think that
if people would. I think that if people would think about what they're doing and how they're promoting Marvel and DC characters, when Marvel and DC characters but they don't need it. That what I'm saying is
nobody disagrees that they don't need it, but nobody's coming up to somebody and going, "Hey, can you do me a commission of?" So just make it up out of your head. No, they're going to tell them something that they know that's familiar to them if they're asking for a commission.
There's a difference between a commission and
yeah, I'm not
talking about the prints. Yes, that's a legal thing, okay? Yeah. There's reasons why those people get shut down selling prints. That's reproducing something that doesn't belong to them and making money off of it.
Yeah.
But if they're taking an original art commission, there should be nothing wrong with them doing an original character or an existing character. It doesn't matter. Like, you shouldn't be putting down another artist because that's what the public wants.
Okay, so so if that's the case, if what you're saying is true, then so does it matter if it's hand drawn and printed or photoshopped and printed? Does it matter?
Well, no. At that point, the thing is, I'm kind of a purist. Once you get digital manipulation into something and it's not something you actually came from you originally,
right?
Then there's a disconnect to me, and whatever arguments you have beyond that are kind of like just abstract. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
But if something organically comes from you and you create it, whether it's like you look at nature, you look at a tree's not copywritten, but you look into the public sphere and you see all these licensed characters all over the place, and somehow you're supposed to delineate between the two. I see my reality as seamless. You know what I mean? Everything I see is in my psyche, and copyright law is asking me to draw a dividing line between everything that's been created by somebody who's trying to make money off of it and stuff that's been created by nobody cares about making money off of it. And I have to act a certain way to this stuff, but not to this stuff. Mm-hmm. Everything that exists. And to pretend otherwise is asinine.
You know what, though?
But the point that I was trying to make was that it's fine to do an original drawing for somebody, and then, but if they try to reproduce it 1,000 times, and make a ton of money,
I agree.
That's merchandising.
I completely agree with you.
Right.
You have a valid point there. I already said that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and that you guys, I think both have very valid points, and I'll end with this. There was a court case that was very famous about this whole copyright issue concerning podcasting. Someone in West Texas, or not in West Texas, someone in Texas.
The term podcasting?
They said that they came up with the idea of how podcasts are serialized or numbered. Adam Carolla and his group over there took those guys on because they ended up suing him because they believed that podcasting was something that they had come up with. So it was a very interesting line between what
Texans think they own the whole world.
Well, listen, you guys bring up some very good points. I do know know that Todd Bernardi is not just a good artist, but a great artist, and he doesn't need Marvel or DC, and he just creates his own stuff.
The point that I was trying to make was that if you took if these artists that did the prints,
yes,
print jockeys, were to...
Is that a derogatory term?
Sounds like it.
That was the word used for them. That was the word that was used in the original post that I shared. That if they would, and I know some of them that have their own book, and I think that if they were brave enough to promote their work instead of promote their original work instead of promoting work that they have drawn based on existing characters that everybody's familiar with, I think that independent comics would be much larger. I think that the comic industry in general would be a lot more diverse, and I think we would see a lot more. We would see a lot less of the superheroes. I think that
interesting.
I think that more people and more comic book fans are ready for a diverse story. So I just don't think that taking diversity into the sphere of like Iron Man or Miss Marvel or something and making Thor female is really going to help comics in the long run. I think that you need to try to get different stories out there, romance stories, different genres, that kind of thing.
Agreed.
And I can see that. And I see that with a lot of independent creators, but they're too preoccupied selling prints of Poison Ivy to promote their own work.
But there has to be, but to be fair to Alika's point, there is something that is comforting about the familiar. And I think that maybe that's why people cling to these characters, because they're so iconic and they're so familiar, and people don't.
But not it's hard. These independent titles and stuff, they like nowadays they do become familiar.
Yeah. True. Good point.
Like, now is a lot better for independent creators and artists than it ever has before.
Absolutely, agreed.
Yeah, right. And especially with the conduits are so democratic now with the internet and all that stuff, and. Now
last bastion of free market is the internet.
The way they do programming now, and Netflix is almost just purely internet based anyways.
Sure.
And that's one of the biggest programmers in the world.
Sure.
So it's all becoming more and more organic, you know.
For sure. Well, listen, thanks, Todd. I appreciate you bringing up your...
the big guys exist, and there's room for everybody.
I think there is room for everybody.
You don't have
I just think that the little guys would have much more of the market if they were stop promoting characters that they don't own, or promoting their work through characters that they don't own.
Interesting.
Instead of original.
I don't think that anybody buying comics would be a household activity were it not for the work of the larger companies creating an American standard in comic books.
And if we're fair,
I don't think that you.
No, you can't. You didn't build that, Todd. The industry built this infrastructure and the want and need for comic books.
And I'm not trying to take credit for it, because I'm not drawing Deadpool.
But now you're saying if they weren't around, there'd be more room for you.
But if
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that the industry would be a much more diverse marketplace if independent creators, would stop promoting their work through characters that they don't own.
But not every independent creator does it. If most independent creators I know, if they have their own independent title, they're promoting that. As we saw evidently with all of the Hawaii Comic Book Alliance, I don't know who you're talking about who has their own book, who's doing prints of other stuff. There's nobody at that row. There are guys who are just artists who do prints and stuff of licensed characters and stuff, but they don't have their own independent titles.
Interesting.
So it's either one or the other. I'm not seeing these guys who have their own title and are bashful and shy and like, please, sir, don't judge my crap. I'll draw you an Iron Man. That doesn't happen. It's if they have their own independent title, they're guys putting themselves out there. Don't put those guys down.
I'm not.
Agreed.
But I can think of a couple of instances where there are guys that have the biggest banners of prints out there, and they have their own small independent title too. But their small independent title isn't what they're promoting.
Well,
they're promoting the prints.
Right. Well, let's just remember this. At one time, Superman was an independent. So...
picked up by a little-known publication.
Well, all I'm saying is that Superman was at one time not associated with mainstream comic book
national periodicals.
Yeah, not right. He was just a character.
That tiny little.
So, and he was an original.
And I'm just saying that's what I would like to see. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. And I'm not trying to put down anybody that does prints. I'm just saying that, like, if you guys would, think about it, really, you could be promoting your work through your original characters,
right?
And be just as successful. And I think that that's true. But that's fine. If they don't have them, I know artists that can draw really well that can't write anything. So maybe they should. And a convention is a really good place to meet a writer.
Interesting.
So, I think that doing commissions and being at conventions is a good place.
Well, and see, that's something I want to do, is try to bring writers and artists together who haven't met each other, but the store's kind of small.
Well, this has been quite an interesting conversation.
I've done it in at least a couple of instances.
I have to tell you,
I think that you're making, like, you were kind of painting me as like a bad guy that thinks that these guys are wrong, and I'm not trying to demonize
I can't stop
anybody.
these guys, can I?
The language you're using sounded pretty damning, and so that just turns on my devil's advocate switch, and I just like arguing with people anyways. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings.
I just want to promote I just want people to.
You want to promote world peace.
I just want art, and I want really talented individuals to have faith in their skill and not rely on recognizable characters.
And what is the one thing?
Their artwork.
Absolutely. And what is the one thing you want to do here, Todd?
I would like to talk about Kukui Project.
No, but more importantly...
and do a good job.
Thank you very much. All right. That's a good conversation for Kaku. Kaku got some meaty stuff this week. Goodness gracious. All right, well, listen.
Giving them
That's the name of the pod now.
Kaku got some meaty stuff.
Kaku got some meaty stuff.
Meaty stuff this week. Well, listen, now that we've got 5 minutes left. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. We got lots of time. We all did the premiere of Apocalypse, X-Men. I hope everybody picked up free comics, yes? Yeah. Okay. Well, I got 3 very special comics that I want to give away. Okay? And I just need 3 people up here now for 3 a special set. Just 3. Don't freak out. Are you going to play? 1, 2, 3. Done. We're done. We got them. Come on this side. All right. These are very special. Bring me those comics. All right. Cool. All right. But anyway, back to the game. Come up here, my friend. What's your name?
Troy.
Yell it out again. What is it?
Troy.
Troy! Nice to see you, Troy. You a big comic book fan? Okay, awesome. We got some comic book questions for you. Okay? My first question is this, and then you get to win this set. And by the way, X-Men. Who plays Wolverine in the X-Men movies? Who?
Hugh Jackman.
You said Hugh Jackman. That is absolutely correct. Nice job, my friend. Good job. Come up here. What's your name, my dear? Jade. Jade?
Yes.
It's phenomenal. You're a comic book fan? Okay. Well, I'm going to stick to the movies. All right? All right. What is the name of the blue-shaded female who happens to also be a shapeshifter?
Mystique.
Of course it's Mystique. Nice work. How you doing, sir? Good. What's your name? Logan. Logan! Logan is his name. I don't even have to, give him a trivia question. You win, sir. Logan! Good job being you, sir. Snick. Okay, right before we get started, I do want to bring up Professor Barry.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming tonight. I was just talking to G earlier. It's hard to believe the first X-Men movie was the year 2000. And the year that movie came out, there were no other comic book movies that year. We're living in a very, very different world. There's been how many X-Men movies since 2000? We talk 14, 15?
11-5.
It's been almost one X-Men movie per year. And when that first film came out, it was a little small $90 million movie. Everyone in the film looks so young because they were, because it was 15 years ago. So much of the comic book universe as a cinematic experience has grown from that movie. What began with Tim Burton's Batman and continued with Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy and all the kind of the forerunner films really took off so much with X-Men because it was this prestigious film with a prestigious cast. They tried to make an X-Men movie back in 1987. Not everybody knows this. They tried to make it with Sigourney Weaver as Jean Grey, if you can imagine that. But Patrick Stewart was always the first and only idea for Professor X. It was always going to be Patrick Stewart and Sigourney Weaver. They were the two big names for the X-Men films, which never happened. And maybe it's a good thing we don't have that movie. I don't know how it would have worked out with Sigourney Weaver. These movies are for everyone who has ever felt out of place, disenfranchised, bullied, like an outsider. These movies are for really all of us. Anybody who has ever felt like you were on the outside looking in, anybody who has ever felt like you didn't belong. That was always the intent of these movies, and that was always the intent of the director, Bryan Singer. Singer has had a heck of a career as a director. In addition to making The Usual Suspects, he also made Superman Returns. He did the highly controversial Valkyrie a few years ago, and yet he always returns to the X-Men films. He's always said that these movies are a way of expressing what is going on with him, his concerns with the world, how he feels about people being bullied, how he feels about people not being treated the way they ought to be treated. These movies are fantasy. And yet, these movies, they show us our dreams. They show us what we wish we are capable of doing. These movies have always been very special for the fans because who wouldn't want to be, well, who wouldn't want to be this Logan, but who wouldn't want to be Logan in general? Who wouldn't want to be Mystique? Who wouldn't want to be Nightcrawler? These movies have always allowed us to see our dreams and to live our dreams vicariously, the movies. I'm thrilled that we get to see this movie, that we on Maui are the first ones to see this film. That's so freaking cool. And I hope it's a special experience for all of us. So thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you, Professor Barry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to leave you guys to it. It's been real fun. We are the NERDWatch. You can listen to our podcast on iTunes or whatever podcast aggregate that you have on your telephone. You can listen to us. We're a local comic, or I should say a local nerd culture podcast. We talk about movies, games, television, all the stuff that we love. Probably all the stuff that you love. We geek out about that stuff every single week. I hope you guys enjoy it. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/NERDWatch. You can watch our videos on YouTube now under NERDWatch Nation. So it's been real fun. I love comic book movies. I love watching comic book movies with an audience, and I love people that like and enjoy. So, ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the premiere of X-Men Apocalypse. And not only did we have a great time, we also gave away, or we should say that Alika of Maui Comics and Collectibles
That's the name of the sequel. That's the name of the sequel. The next X-Men movie is going to be X-Men Tupa Apocalypse.
And dude, he finds Tupac's corpse and transfers into it.
Turns out Tupac was a mutant.
Nice. That's all.
I would, if they did 2Pac-Alypse for the next X-Men movie, I would totally forgive.
X-Men. It'll be like the number 2. Then
Tupac. No, it has to be spelled Tupac Shakur.
No, man.
Tupac Shakur.
No, it should be 2Pac-Alypse. That'd be great.
There we go.
Why don't we go around the room and we'll start with that end of the room.
Did we all see it this time?
Yes, we all did. We were all there. I think except for the exception of Silent Sean. Silent Sean was not there. But Hennessy was there. So Hennessy, I know you're filming, so you can't say too much. What'd you think of the movie?
I enjoyed it a lot. There
really?
were a few things that I thought Apocalypse could have been more intense than he was, more of a bat than he was.
Gotcha.
He didn't come
Censored
across
yourself.
to me
Good job.
as intense as I thought he should have been.
Sure.
Considering his stature in the comics and how intense he usually is,
right,
and as powerful as he is.
But you enjoyed it.
I did. I just thought he was kind of a little bit weaker than I expected him to be.
Right. Gotcha. All right. So, Big C, what about you?
I honestly didn't feel that he had the proper introduction. I felt like you saw a couple of outtakes from other X-Men movies or Marvel movies, and then other than that, you just didn't really get a whole lot of what the build was, who he was,
interesting,
how he created. And I mean, even now to give a backstory to a character like that, it's like it's a waste of time.
So by the end, though, what did you think? Was it redeemable?
I enjoyed the film, wholly. I wish that I saw a little bit more of the Weapon X moment. Because that was important to me.
By the way, spoilers.
Because if there's anything an X-Men movie needs, it's more Wolverine. God forbid they ever do one without him.
I think that they need more Mystique.
Right.
Honestly, if we're
just
talking
glad
about,
they put Mystique in clothes this time.
Thank God.
We're talking about like
with her dirty pillow showing.
I honestly really wondering where the real true, role that Rogue plays and Gambit and all that other stuff that relives in my mind in the 90s. You know what I mean? But
that's the next decade they're going to be going for anyway. Is going to be the 90s.
They fix it. Anyway.
Well, hopefully. Well,
by the way, the name of the pod is now Mystique's Dirty Pillows.
Dirty blue pillows.
That's why they're blue.
Format.
Yo.
I'm going to skip Alika for now.
We have to because he's.
Why would you do
Okay, you know why I'm skipping Alika? Because he's going to go on a bit of a tirade. So I'm going to try and get everybody in first.
I'm not going to do what everybody thinks I'm going to do.
Who's coming with me?
So, Format, what about you, sir? What do you think of X-Men Apocalypse?
It was entertaining, but it could have been more.
Fell flat.
Interesting.
I was a little disappointed, I guess. It's nowhere near where it could have been, but it was entertaining.
Can I ask you something? What was more disappointing, the movie or not meeting Jim Lee?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
The movie was disappointing because I didn't get to meet him.
They kind of fed into each other.
Gotcha. All right, Gannon, what about you, sir? What do you think?
I had an entirely different experience than everybody else here.
Really? Go ahead.
Entirely
please.
different. I liked Apocalypse way better than I liked Days of Future Past. I thought Apocalypse actually was a very decent villain, and I thought he had a decent enough setup.
Everything you're saying is wrong.
The entire first 15 minutes is all about Apocalypse, for instance.
We'll go ahead and delete this part.
There was really strong character moments for Magneto. He was actually the only character that had an actual strong arc to him.
Agreed. I agree with you on that one.
James McAvoy is completely lost. Mystique's character is just dominating the whole movie.
What?
Yeah.
The whole Weapon X thing, as much as it's a fan moment, I think that whole Weapon X sequence was just thrown in so you could put Hugh Jackman in this movie. Because nothing that happens in that scene is necessary for the rest of the movie.
Can I tell you? Can I give you my impression of why they put that in there, just really quick?
I just said it.
No. I think it's because now officially Hugh Jackman's characterization of Wolverine, he's officially the old man in the room now. You understand what I mean?
No, I don't.
He wasn't before. Remember, he was kind of the same age as everybody else.
But he's being depicted in this movie as the younger version, even though Hugh Jackman's 50.
But that's only because Days of Future Past was what changed the way we see
I am completely failing to see this point.
Really?
I think everybody gets confused.
I think it's going to go.
The
funny thing is, I think this is the introduction to Old Man Logan and how it happens.
No,
I think so.
Not at all. Anyway,
fine.
He goes from Weapon X to Old Man.
You're
Logan.
full of crap.
The movie was a half an hour too long. That's another thing.
I agree.
The whole middle section of the movie could have been truncated a lot. There's a lot that could have been taken out of the movie, and the movie would have trudged along a lot better.
Could have been an hour.
There's a lot of I thought Psylocke was a complete waste.
Yeah.
I always want to see the character of Psylocke done well in the movie.
Was it because the way she was written, or was it because of the actress?
I think it's
because she had a boob window.
It's what happens when you get Olivia Munn, who's not a proven actress but looks great, and you put her in a movie.
She looked good in the uniform.
Actress.
She looked good in the
uniform. She looked fine, I guess.
All right.
But
I think he just wants her a little.
Hang on, Todd. We're going to get to you.
But the Quicksilver moment was actually fantastic.
It was.
See, nobody's listening to me.
I'm listening to you.
We agreed with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about him.
That's the one thing that we agreed with you.
It's true. Go ahead.
Everything else was wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up liking it better than Days of Future Past.
Okay.
The villain definitely made an impact better than Trask did in Days of Future Past. Like, did anybody even remember Peter Dinklage was in the movie?
No,
because he didn't really carry much purpose to the whole movie. Really, like if you really get down to
other
it.
than the fact that he was in the
he's face down at the end of the movie, but I didn't really get any sense he was a bad guy.
He's in the end credits of the Wolverine movie. Remember the whole television? Yeah. Well, anyway, Todd. Now, sir, what did you think of X-Men Apocalypse?
I just love Olivia Munn so much.
I'm sure you do. What did you think?
It was amazing. It was everything I ever wanted in a superhero movie.
You're such a liar, man.
I hate you, Todd. I wasn't sure before,
but you're sure now.
But now I know.
Really?
I'm gonna bring the 2Pac-Alypse.
2Pac-Alypse. Rise of the meat curtains.
Oh God! What is wrong with you? Anyway, what did you think of the movie?
We're gonna get taken off air.
There was nothing obscene about what I said.
No, that's the name of the podcast, obviously. Anyway, moving on.
I liked it, but for me, like, it's the same. I liked Force Awakens and I liked Batman v Superman, but I still gave them like 2 stars because they're not fantastic pieces of film. They're not great. It's a fun popcorn movie.
Your mic a second.
Why? What is wrong with this mic stand?
Your mic needs Viagra.
Is it because I'm just not really?
Just hold it at the base.
Will you stop and just hold the base?
Oh my god! Just cradle it.
Your mic needs Viagra. That's good.
Don't smell it.
Don't smell it.
Blow on a little bit when you talk to it.
Don't neglect the undercarriage.
That's right. There you go. There it is.
Give it some harmonica style.
Anyway, get back to your point. Apocalypse.
Oh man.
Microphone. How much teeth do you want?
Stop it.
None of this is going to air.
Yeah, 2Pac-Alypse. Too fast, too furious.
Oh my god!
All right. So overall, though, you're very critical. You're critical of Marvel movies, so might as well get into it.
Well, I thought that Nightcrawler and Archangel were underutilized too.
Agreed.
I forgot. In the movie.
Yeah. See, I think that it was weird that they killed off Archangel at the end of the.
I was kind of annoyed with both of them. In the movie.
I think that they might have been a little miscast.
Give me some more of that.
No, but I like those characters from the comic book.
Why did it look like Nightcrawler just ate a blue popsicle the whole time?
It did. It's like it's weird because his teeth were like blue.
The makeup guy messed up, or he couldn't resist sucking up on the inside of his lips. Or something.
Like in X-Men.
No, Alan Cumming looked good.
No, what you're not.
Alan arriving.
Will you not yell in the mic, please? What you're not understanding.
This Nightcrawler looked like.
But it wasn't just the makeup.
Like an Otter Pop factory blew up in his face.
I think it was this guy's build too. I didn't like his build with Nightcrawler.
What you guys are missing is that when Jennifer Lawrence and he hooked up, there's no way that she can get that makeup off in time for them to get it on. Obviously.
Wait, what?
So, anyway.
What the hell are you talking about?
He's reliving his fiction brain.
Do you realize that the
Stay on target.
Is still a child?
Stay on target.
He's not that. He's not. He's like in 17 or 18.
That's a child.
That's Cody McPhee or whatever.
Cody Smith.
Cody.
Okay.
He's a child still.
Yeah, right. I'm sure he hasn't fantasized about giving it to Jennifer Lawrence.
Why? It's not like she's anything special.
Wow.
But she's walking around the set all naked all the
I was
time.
going to say, after her all of those pictures got released, I mean, he got to see the good.
She's just a less obnoxious Amy Schumer.
Wow.
Amy Schumer is in the islands, by the way.
By the way, good for her. Amy Schumer sucks. Anyway,
we're in the islands too.
I think that I needed more mystique to really enjoy this movie.
I think you did too.
I mean,
Todd.
she was really.
Of course you did.
Yeah. No, I honestly.
Overall, what was your
Punch
impression?
you in your dumb mouth.
Overall,
actually, in your dumb beard.
Honestly, I was really like bummed about just Olivia Munn just walking off screen. Like she's like gives him a stink eye and then just takes off. It's like how that's.
See you in the sequel. That was her definitive moment.
Mm-hmm.
That was like
those were two of the most annoying moments in the movie. That Quicksilver never gets his story paid off,
right?
Which
True.
they only do to pay off in the sequel. And the same thing with Psylocke's character. She does the walk off, looking at them all evilly.
True.
I didn't really like that. Those two moments were just annoying.
Quicksilver, the best part of the movie again. I think.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Every scene he was in, he saved.
Yeah, I would
they
agree.
put him in quite a few.
They did more than the last one.
Days of Future Past are like,
They just amped up the funny. They gave him some more.
Because to be honest, he's the only thing that's fun about the movie. He's it. He's the only thing. Yeah. And listen, moving on.
I don't know. Phoenix showing up at the end. That was a great freaking moment.
That's not fun, though.
Spoilers.
It's not fun.
But it was a great moment.
I agree. I'm with you.
I think it was. They threw it away, though.
Hey, listen.
I mean, they were building towards it. It's not like it didn't belong in the movie, but it didn't. It was.
I don't know if I would say thrown away.
They didn't create it with
an X-Men 3. Was
hey,
they didn't do it with enough consequence.
Yeah.
It was just like
killing
she was just like, I'm gonna be the Phoenix.
Whoa, spoiler!
She's the only character that manages to kill Apocalypse.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Yeah,
I think
but Apocalypse too. Like Apocalypse didn't show up and like he wasn't menacing. He just kind of.
Oh, you know what really bummed me out about Apocalypse?
Hey, listen, you'll get your turn in a minute, pal.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what bummed me out about Apocalypse.
Everything bums you out about the
Here's what I just want to add this.
You know what? I'll give up.
Wolverine's helmet didn't look right.
That's
That's what Alika's going to say first thing.
I'm going to say there's two things. Number one, you can
Hugh
read.
Jackman's wearing pants in Weapon X scene. That's the next thing he's going to say.
My full review is up at mywatch.com for X-Men Apocalypse. You can check it out at mywatch.com. Secondly, Barry was there because he gave the introduction. Barry and I just want you guys to know that Barry and I actually thought the same thing. I thought the first half of the movie was good, and I thought the third act was kind of I thought the first 2 acts were very good, but the finale was kind of not very good. It was jumbled chaos, and I didn't really dig that. But I really liked the atmosphere of the movie. I thought that was good. I thought Apocalypse was underused, although he was menacing, but not as menacing as you'd like him to be. The no more weapons and all that other crap that he does.
Menacing?
I don't think he's menacing enough. That was my problem.
He just showed
the
up.
other thing that I liked was the Magneto.
Too much machines.
The storyline with
Eric.
Magneto's, like family.
That was great. I tell you what, one of the most amazing things on screen that happened, which I thought was could have been very controversial, was when he decides to destroy Auschwitz. That was a very powerful scene. Yeah. I thought that was amazing, and I thought they did a really good job with that. But what I thought was interesting, and this is why I'm going to lead into you with this. If I remember the comics correctly, Apocalypse's weak point was in his neck.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
And from the cartoon.
Oh, right. And
Archangel kills him.
one of the guys that I know that talk movies about comic book movies who doesn't come here, because he doesn't like Todd, but no, it happens.
Few people do.
Yeah. I want to ask you something. Remember in the comic, he used to wear his collar. In this one, there's no reason for him to wear the collar because it's not how they destroy him. It was really weird. I didn't pick up on that until after he told me that, and I was like, yeah, that makes zero sense.
Story, that's what should matter.
Movie or a Marvel movie.
Based
on the story.
I mean,
No,
That's ridiculous. We have to talk about the costume.
The suits in the X-Men movies was a throwaway joke, and even in the movie,
based off of the action figures. Excuse me.
they literally
Based
walk
off
into
dolls.
Oh, look,
They're
not
dolls.
Yeah.
That's literally how it's handled.
That felt like someone punched me in the crotch.
Well, you know what's ultimately sad here is that
I saw you.
Which ones?
yeah. Really, we're gonna do this. Ultimately, what's really sad is here
Because I know exactly what you're talking about.
For a week.
Each one of them on purpose, not because of necessarily.
We've run out of time. We've run out of time for Alika's assessment and his review of X-Men Apocalypse. If you're listening, if you are listening to us on the podcast, you will not want to miss Alika's review of X-Men Apocalypse. You will not. Number 2, if you're watching us on Akaku, and if you want to know about Alika's review, also we'll be talking about Preacher. We're going to be talking about Star Wars Rogue One a bit, and just a couple of extra things before we take off here. And by the way, so download the podcast on iTunes or any podcast aggregate. Do so if you're Maui Watch app. And if by the way, if you are listening to us on the podcast, do not move.
Don't move.
I do want to say, don't take off those headphones. I do want to say, thanks. I do want to say this before we leave. Akaku, this week is the premiere of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
It's actually Ninja Turtles.
Well,
Secret of the Ooze.
Secret of the Ooze, right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows.
Secret of the Shadows.
Is happening at the Maui Mall Megaplex this Thursday, 5 o'clock, okay? Be there or be stupid. The premiere with the NERDWatch.
Tone down the swearing because it's going to be full of
It's going to be full of kids, so we have to be nice.
They
little rotten.
Yeah, no good.
They need to
booger eaters.
They need to read the comics.
Yeah, they do.
Those people.
Yeah. So that's happening this Thursday, 5 o'clock, Maui Mall Megaplex. The NERDWatch is going to be giving you the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows film happening this Thursday night, 5 o'clock. The week after that, okay, we'll be doing 2 premieres the week after that. Well, not a premiere per se, but we're going to be doing Ghostbusters, and we're also going to be doing...
Hold on. That you threw that one under the bus. The 1984 Ghostbusters.
That's true. The 1984 Ghostbusters is happening on the 8th, and then we're also doing Warcraft on the 9th. So the NERDWatch will be all up in your movie grizzle for the next 2 weeks. So you want to stay tuned for that. That is Street for Grill. That's my 2 Pizzak coming out.
If G-Money is anything, he's from the street.
He is from the street.
That's
that G-Money's a little too urban.
He is urban, isn't he?
2Pac-Alypse.
That's right.
That's a little 2Pac-Alypse. That's 2Pac-Alypse.
That's 2Pac-alyptic for me.
Oh.
Yeah, so, but anyway, listen, you guys can follow...
Word games, kids.
Yeah. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/NERDWatch.
That's what we're known for.
Yeah, by the way. Don't forget, I'll be downloading a couple of the Comic-Con interviews this week, along with this podcast on our iTunes.
Brought down the thunder.
Thanks a lot, Todd. That was great. You just couldn't help yourself, could you?
And we're out.
We out of this. Anyway, I'll be downloading.
It's a whole new look.
All right, we got to get out of here.
All right, let's go.
I'll be downloading some Comic-Con interviews coming up this week, as well as this podcast. Facebook.com/NERDWatch. If you're watching us on Akaku, you can also follow us on Twitter at NERDWatchNation. You can follow us on YouTube at NERDWatchNation as well, and you can follow us on Instagram at _NERDWatch. All right.
Follow us on Google.
All right, we are out of time. So
follow us on Angel Fire.
Until next week, Akaku. Podcasters, stay tuned. We got more coming up. Until then, this is for Hennessy, for Silent Sean, for Swan, for C, for Alika, for Format, for Gannon, for Todd, for this group, this motley crew. We are out of time. And until next week, Akaku, we say to you, aloha.